How's it going, everyone? It's Sam doing something a little bit different. Live video. It's been a long time since I've done a live video um, or a stream. Sounds like everything's working. I can see it on my phone. But yeah, I thought today would be a good day. I have a few minutes. It won't be a super long stream. So, I'd say stay through to the end if you don't mind. We have some stuff to cover from the crypto market falling. Is this the new bear market? Kind of how I'm approaching it. We'll be going through some news from Trump. We'll be going through some questions from you guys as well. I'll be kind of talking through what's happening right now, and we can chat towards the end. I'm going to try my best because it's been a while, like I said, since I've done a live video. So hopefully everything goes smoothly. If you don't mind, hit subscribe. I appreciate that. If this is your first time watching it, or if you're rewatching this afterwards, I should be able to answer questions during the live chat, and then I'll still look at some of the comments afterwards. By the way, if you do want to trade, there's a link underneath the video to BYDFi. You can start trading in just a few minutes because they don't KYC, and you don't need a VPN. I actually just added to a trade too. I'll be talking about that a little bit if you want as well. Let's wait just another minute here and we'll start. Sounds like some people are excited that we're streaming here. Owen, is this going to be something bigger or a complete nothing burger? That's a good question. We'll be talking about that. Anyone that is saying hi, hello back to you. And yeah, we'll answer some more questions later in the video, but let's get started. Obviously, Bitcoin has taken a bit of a drop today. Hopefully you can see everything. Let me just check on my phone. Again, it's been a while, so apologize for this. Okay, cool. You can see. Bitcoin's taken a drop for the fourth day in a row. So obviously after Friday, we had a bit of a bounce back up to 116, which is pretty sweet. And then we're coming back down. Honestly, there are a lot of liquidations happening right now. We have another $1 billion in longs liquidated. A lot of people getting very aggressive on their long positions, thinking that we're going back up to new all-time highs, which, obviously is a possibility, but I still wouldn't be going 100x or anything like that. Right. This was a pretty good chance to get in. We got in on an ETH trade, still up a little bit on that, but obviously like a lot of people are down on their long positions if they've opened at any time in the last couple months without taking profits. I've talked about taking profits a lot here on the channel, and honestly, we did take profits. I made a video on the day that we went up to 123. I think it might have been actually back here in August, saying that I was taking profits, and then we opened another position after we actually came down and flipped. We had flipped this previous resistance into support right here. We opened up another long position there. So we've been able to make good profits, but obviously, if you're in altcoins, you might have gotten wiped out last Friday if you were using a lot of leverage. So yeah, that's definitely draining the markets a bit right now. I think there is a bit of a psyop going on right now. Andrew Tate actually just made a video talk about Bitcoin going down to 26,000, right? And actually in the video, I might have missed it, but he doesn't actually mention 26,000. It sounds like he's just, super bearish on Bitcoin. But what he's saying here is actually, why is Bitcoin going down? Because you think it's not going to. And that's actually what we talk about a lot on the channel. Usually the consensus trade is not the right one. So a lot of people thinking Q4 is super bullish. We're going to go up to all-time highs, blow off top, all that kind of stuff. And we're doing the opposite, which could actually fake a lot of people out of the market, to be clear. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Let's cover some of the stuff that's happening right now. President Trump calls his 100% tariffs on China not sustainable. We have to have a fair deal. So again, back and forth, so much uncertainty with what's going to happen with tariffs, with what's going to happen with trade, where to put your hard-earned money. If we look at the general market today, it's slightly green. So we have, S&P 500, the NASDAQ also just like a couple percent off of all-time highs. Gold hitting new all-time highs once again today. It was just over 30 trillion. It's pulling back a little bit right now. Bitcoin projected to crash below $100,000 this month. On Polymarket, they're saying there's over a 50% chance right now, which honestly, with us sitting at 105, I wouldn't be surprised if we wick down under 100,000. that would, I think, wreck a lot of people. And a lot of people will just leave the market thinking we're going into a bear market then. We also have $6 billion in Bitcoin and ETH options expiring today. So be ready for a little bit of volatility later today. Keep in mind, we're actually getting very close to the next Fed meeting. I had some different thumbnails I was choosing between, and one was the Fed's giving you 12 days because we have 12 days before the next Fed meeting. They could signal, or Jerome Powell could flat out say, we're done with quantitative tightening, because just last week he kind of alluded that they might be here soon. They might be done with quantitative, they might be done with quantitative tightening very soon. So he could just say, hey, we're gonna stop that. We're actually just gonna pause. Maybe we'll move to quantitative easing soon, but we are still lowering rates. And I think that would be a huge inflection point for the market, right? Looser monetary policy, high growth rates, right? GDP is growing at nearly 4%. He just said that might be even better than expected. So we could see like a 4% growth rate on GDP, low rates, money printer turns back on. And that could fake a lot of people out, right? Like gold seems like it's going up day after day. And I see so many like crypto people, like crypto influencers, even people that have been in crypto for a long time, like every day for the last 5 years, and they're saying they're underexposed to gold. And honestly, I don't feel that way. I don't really want to hold gold. This is so many people are comparing gold to Bitcoin and how gold's actually outperformed Bitcoin in the last year with lower risk. And that's true. But do you want to buy an asset that historically keeps up with inflation, but is on a historic run right now? For 40 years, it did nothing. It went sideways it went, up 7% in 4 years. Do you want to buy it when it's up 95% in a year and a half? I don't. I think this is severely overheated. I mean, this is the biggest asset in the world right now, by far, $30 trillion, outside of real estate and other things. The biggest thing that you can trade, I suppose, that's one asset, not just different kinds of debt or something. I don't really want to buy this. I don't feel underexposed to it because I don't want to hold gold. I'd rather hold the S&P 500. I'd rather hold Bitcoin. I'd rather have real estate than gold. And I think a lot of people will jump into this when it's already too late. The money is not being made from here till 10,000. It was from, 2,000 or 1,500 up till now. I saw Peter Schiff saying that gold was going to hit $1 million before Bitcoin, which is just insane. This could be the biggest psyop of our time, right? Let's just talk for a second here. Hopefully my internet's okay too. I see one bar, so hopefully it's, let me know if everything's coming through okay. But everyone's worried about whether Bitcoin's going to go down a little bit more or go back into a bear market. The fact is, yes, the timing works out for a bear market, but there are really no reasons why Bitcoin would go into a bear market right now in my mind. Every other asset's at all-time highs. It's not like we're built on a bunch of crazy hedge funds going long 100x. Sure, there's some leverage in the market, but a lot of that's been wiped out, to be fair. More of it could be wiped out, I suppose, but I don't think there are that many people holding long positions from a long time ago or going 2x on Bitcoin or something. So wouldn't it make sense that in true crypto fashion, everyone would leave the market thinking it was a bear market, gold's hitting new all-time highs, people rotate over to that, then the big hedge funds, everyone that's hedged with gold that's gone 100%, then rotates from the thing that's actually risky, that's gone up 100% in just over a year, and rotates that capital into something 10 times smaller in Bitcoin and pumps it up 2 or 3x. Right? And I don't really see a reason why the market would sell off dramatically from here in crypto, because what else are you going to invest in? Again, you're going to invest in gold when it's up 100%, Bitcoin's down 30%. Are you going to invest in AI? Yes, maybe, but that's been a trade for 3-4 years. I don't really see a reason for people to sell out of crypto. Again, with lower rates, looser monetary policy, it doesn't really make sense in my mind. Besides just people that are worried about the 4-year cycle, there's really no reason to sell. If this was a year ago, I think people would be screaming buy the dip. Now people are saying, I'm underexposed to gold, I'm overexposed to crypto, I should rotate. And it's when gold's on this historic run and Bitcoin's down 25%. So it just seems funny to me. It seems like something that would shake not everyone, a lot of people out of crypto. But I'm not going to be shaking off crypto, to be clear. I'm fine if we go down. I've talked about this for a long time. I'm completely fine if we go into a bear market because I've been heavy Bitcoin. I'm happy to hold Bitcoin. I don't really want to hold a lot of altcoins throughout bear market. That being said, I do have more altcoins than I'd like, right? I have 8% of my portfolio, 10% of my portfolio in altcoins. And I wish I, had sold off at the exact top, but who would have guessed that that was the blow off top? If that's really what this amounts to, right? If we don't see a new all-time high for altcoins, I think a lot of people will probably be feeling more pain than I will because they're not as heavy Bitcoin. That being said, though, we could go back into a bull market. Just like I said, we could go to the point where, everyone gets shaken out here at 100, 105,000, 90,000, something like that. We flip back bullish. Everyone that left the market has to come back and buy at max pain when Bitcoin's at 140, 150,000. They finally get back in because gold starts collapsing, or there's some kind of sell-off, or capital just rotates to Bitcoin because it seems like it's a good value, and maybe gold even holds its price. Who knows? But at the end of the day, I'm not selling Bitcoin when it's down 25% and everything else is at all-time highs and the economy looks good and there's looser monetary policy, right? So a couple months ago, I said I'm actually going to start buying Bitcoin just to get that muscle memory back of buying instead of holding, because I haven't bought Bitcoin really since the halving, which was April 2024. I hadn't bought spot Bitcoin. I've traded. I bought a few altcoins here and there, but I really just rotated capital when I saw some opportunity. But now I'm getting back into the muscle memory. I'm just putting a small percent of my income, like 1% of my income, let's say, into Bitcoin just to start stacking again. And if we crash, I don't care because it's a small portion of what I'm actually making. I've been diversifying for a year and a half into other assets like the S&P 500, big tech stocks, real estate, cash. So I will start to buy Bitcoin. And then if we see bigger dips, I'll buy more because there's a better risk reward if we're at $80,000 Bitcoin than if we're at $126,000 Bitcoin. Especially, again, this is dependent on the economy and monetary policy because that really drives Bitcoin's price long term. Sure, we can see blips of $20,000 down, $20,000 up, regardless of what's happening with monetary policy. But I don't see us going into a massive bull run if the economy's doing really poorly, and vice versa. I don't see Bitcoin going down to $40,000 if everything else in the world is doing well and there's loose monetary policy. I don't see Bitcoin collapsing, right? Again, we'll get to some questions here in a second, but just want to give you a little bit of my thoughts on the subject. And I actually increased margin on a couple different trades because I think there are manipulators that might try to shake people out of trades. So I had some trades that were, 5, 7x that are down a decent amount on BYDeFi because this is the platform that I've started most recently on. Basically, all the other platforms I'd started earlier at lower prices. So all those trades are fine, basically. But on BYDeFi, I started some trades throughout the summer, and they might be down a little bit. I did take profits on a handful of them. So we've been able to just rotate some of those profits back into trades. But I did increase leverage or margin on them. It's super easy. There's just like a little pencil mark and you can increase margin just to protect the trades a bit more. And if we fall down further, if we fall down closer to that $100,000, $98,000 support, I'll just open up new trades and increase the size of the trades as well, because I think it's a good opportunity. It's kind of like putting, your hand in the pencil sharpener at that point, because we could go down further. We could go into a bear market, and you don't want to keep on throwing money at like aggressive leverage plays and keep on getting liquidated all the way down if we go into a bear market. But again, there's a pretty good chance that we bounce at some point in my mind because everything is doing well and Bitcoin is just falling down. So I think it's a pretty good risk reward. Again, there is the risk though. So in the 20, 30% chance where we go into another bear market when everything else is going to all-time highs, you have to be a little bit careful of that and just realize, like, I'm throwing money in, it might get burned up, but I also might get a really good return. And I think it's a pretty good risk reward ratio right now. And this isn't, 50x leverage, right? This is like 3, 5x trades. All right, let's see. Is there anything else I saw this. Let's play this for everyone, or show it for everyone that's bullish on XRP. Ripple is going to raise at least $1 billion to purchase XRP. Um, you know, if you're bullish on XRP, you'll point to this and say, wow, the price is going to skyrocket. It's awesome that they're buying back crypto. But if we look, like, XRP is around a $136 billion market cap. So $1 billion, I don't know how much that will push up the price. The other thing is, it's a bit odd because they have $1 billion. I guarantee you they have $1 billion because they've been selling crypto for a long time. So I guess it just depends on how you want to view it. The funds will be housed inside a new digital asset treasury, and Ripple will contribute some of its own XRP. So I don't know. It's kind of odd. Maybe more of a headline than anything else. But yeah, I thought it was interesting that that's what they're doing right now. On the ETF front, last thing before we go through some questions, big outflow day from the Bitcoin ETFs, 531 million. And then from the Ethereum ETFs, we actually saw an outflow as well of about 57 million. So some decent sized outflows yesterday. Definitely could send us lower if we keep on seeing ETF sell, but it's hard to tell whether ETFs selling off is due to the price going down or vice versa. So I wouldn't read into it too much. I like when we get inflows. Obviously, the price almost always goes up for Bitcoin when we have inflows. But again, it's hard to know, is it the chicken or the egg? All right. If you have questions, let them fly. Let's see if there's anything I can answer now. Paul says, what's your take on the current gold rally? Huge FOMO. It seems like Bitcoin always follows and retail investors might be coming soon. Yeah, so exactly what I said a few minutes ago. I actually went through that, Paul. If you want to go back a little bit, I totally agree. I think there are a lot of people that will follow after this historic run, get out of crypto, go into gold, because there's so many people saying that they're underexposed. And yeah, I think it's a really bad time to rotate to gold when it's had the best rally that we've seen in decades. Earthwander says Bitcoin will go to 50K this bear cycle. I mean, before we went to this current price that we're at now, I thought 48K would make sense because we've seen a lot of price action around that point. Like back in January of 2024, we got rejected at 48K. Back in August of 2024, we held that as support. So I thought, that number would make sense. Let's see what kind of dip that would be from here. And I'll give you my thoughts now too. So anyone that's, upset with that, that would be a 62% dip from our recent peak. I've said before that I don't think we'll go down as much as we have in the past, and that makes sense because every cycle we go down a little bit less. I can't remember the exact dip last cycle. Let's see. Last cycle we went down to 15.5 or 16.5, and we had gone to 69,000. So that was a 78% dip. So honestly, if we went down just 62% versus 78%, that's a much better bear market. However, I don't think we've had quite the returns that people would expect. So I'm not sure. I don't think we'll fall down that much now. If we see some kind of really exciting time, or I don't know, I guess I just don't see exchanges blowing up like they were in the past. So I don't think we'll see even a 60% dip. I suppose if the NASDAQ fell again, like 30, 35%, 40%, we could see Bitcoin go down 60 pretty easily, but I also don't see that necessarily happening. So yeah, I don't see that happening right now. You don't want to keep trading into a bear market, keeps trading. Yeah. So that's what I was saying, that, yeah, if you continue to go long throughout the entire beginning of the bear market, yeah, that could hurt you. But on the other side, if we don't go into a bear market, like everyone's thought we were going into a bear market the last, every time we dip 20%, people are calling for bear market. And so far it hasn't been. So yeah, I guess if we fall down 40%, yeah, this money will burn a little bit, but it won't hurt. It will just burn up. Right. But at the end of the day, I still think it's a good risk reward with everything else going up. Tariq says, thank you. I need to hear this. I was ready to sell. I'm going to hold on. Appreciate it. Of course, make your own decision. Don't just listen to me because I could be wrong, right? At the peak of the last bull market, I was not bearish, right? I thought we were going higher. So, evaluate it for yourself. I will say we've still made lots of money because we bought throughout the entire bear market when everyone else was bearish. We continued to buy. So it pays off to be bullish long term. Sure, there's some pain, but it's better than sitting in cash when you should be buying, right? And again, like I haven't been buying a lot, to be clear. I've been stacking up other assets a lot, waiting for a bear market because I'll be happy. I mean, I'd be happier if we go into a raging bull market or continue this bull market. I'd be much happier. My income will stay quite high and my assets will go up in price. But I've set myself up well. So if we go into a bear market too, I have capital to put into crypto again. Let's see. Tate saying Bitcoin going to 26K. Yeah, I talked about that a little bit earlier too. Pepe says, this is why you buy Pepe. Not really sure how that fits in. I don't think Pepe's done very well recently. Pepe will be the king. Okay. Gold is running while crypto is way down. Big boys and girls are pushing gold up and crypto down while accumulating crypto while retail is selling crypto and buying gold. You can't make this shit up. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying earlier. I think I know that there are central banks that are actually buying gold and like maybe they're not manipulating crypto at the same time, but there are definitely people that are trying to push up gold, get retail in, freak out crypto, right? Or maybe, maybe the people that are manipulating crypto down aren't even pushing gold up. I think people that can manipulate crypto down are probably in a different class than the type of people that can push gold up. Like gold's $30 trillion. It's much easier to push altcoins down 50% in an hour than it is to push up gold, $2 trillion. Like it's easier to create that kind of sell off and a liquidation event and some manipulation at the exchanges. So I think for the most part, there are a lot of central banks that are buying gold, and that's actually pretty real. But again, I'm not buying gold right now. Someone saying gold is crashing. Yeah, I don't think it's really crashing. I mean, it's down a little bit from like earlier today, but it's the same price it was yesterday. I think it's actually up since yesterday morning. Or no, I'm just looking at my time zone. It's about the same price as it was yesterday morning. It's funny to see like the influencers that I don't know if you'd even call them influencers, like Tate, who's the pizza guy, Barstool Sports guy. I'm blanking on his name, but like these guys that get into crypto and they just can. I don't know if Tate's actually lost money. I think he's probably actually made money, but the other guy from Barstool Sports, they're almost always wrong. So if we see the Barstool Sports guy or Jim Cramer come out and say that they're bearish on crypto, it's probably a good time to buy. Are you bullish mid to long term? Yeah, I definitely am. I think Bitcoin will continue to go up long term. I mean, even just like over the last couple of years, it's done incredibly well. It's just year to date, it hasn't done like gangbusters crazy. But again, if you're trying to, if it's a new market every cycle, right, or like a new fake out, it would make sense that the year that's supposedly the most bullish for Bitcoin isn't that bullish, and then maybe it gets pushed back a year, or like we just don't pump up as much. Like if you're trying as a whale to constantly throw off retail, that would be a kind of a psyop, right? But I'm bullish long term, medium term. I think people will continue to buy Bitcoin specifically. I think there will be certain altcoins that do well, but I think it will get narrower and narrower because I think retail is getting smarter about not just buying crap, right? Until maybe there's like, we had meme season back in 2023 or 2024. I think it was 2023 that there was like 1 month where memes were just going insane. I think that will continue to happen because there are whales that are going to manipulate prices to get retail in, to create liquidation events, and to get liquidity out of retail investors. So I think just in general, there won't be a lot of altcoins that do really well. Like the market breadth will continue to get narrower. But I think Bitcoin will do well. Ooh, I'm stuck in comments still. I've been answering like 1 minute of comments for a while. All right, let me go down. Do I have a course that shows step by step how to leverage trade? No, I do not. I don't have any courses. I do have some videos on the channel that explain it though. Roboto says DCA is the way. Yeah, just like I said earlier, I'm going to be dollar cost averaging throughout the entire beginning of the bear market, throughout the depth of the bear market, throughout the next bull run. I'm sure that I'll be dollar cost averaging because that's a great way of increasing positions. And then, you can leverage trade to try to get like a little extra return too. Lark just pushed out a video talking about bank loan default scaring the market. Yeah, I saw something about that. I was watching another video earlier before this, and I haven't looked at it necessarily, but I saw that there were some bank stocks that were down as well. Like the banks crushed earnings, but I think they're also worried, like they're talking down the market a little bit. They do this a lot. Like the bank CEOs are, I don't want to say bearish, but they're pretty cautious people, especially after 2008. So they kind of talk down the market even when they have good earnings. They're like, but we might have defaults. So I would not be super surprised if that happened, but yeah, I think it's scaring the market a little bit. Let's see. It will be fine in 48 hours. Yeah. Okay. Don't we all agree that collecting and hoarding Bitcoin for the long haul is our holy grail to financial wealth? Yeah, I think you'll do well doing that, but I do like diversification as well. Spot DCA or 2 to 3x leverage. I think it makes sense to do both, honestly. Like I've said, I do exactly what I say. Right? I have a small portion of my portfolio for leverage on 2 to 3x, but the majority of my crypto is just like spot crypto or ETFs. I'm selling now and buying in higher. That's funny. What's the line in the sand for me? Well, I guess it depends what you're talking about because dollar cost averaging, I'm just going to continue. Honestly, there's not really a line in the sand for that. I will most likely increase purchases at some point if we go through a bear market because there's just a really good risk to reward ratio. But I have to kind of evaluate it as we go along because a lot of it will be dependent on other assets, right? If the S&P 500 falls 30% versus goes up 30% and Bitcoin's at 80,000 either way, like that definitely changes whether I want to put money in the S&P 500 or Bitcoin. If the S&P 500 is down a significant amount and I can buy that cheap too, that would look really attractive. But again, if we get this kind of disconnect where Bitcoin's falling down and everything else is going up, it makes more sense to buy Bitcoin. So that's kind of my thinking on it. What happened to the whale who shorted everything before everyone else? They've been continuing to short and long over the last like 4 or 5 days. I'm all in alts. I'm effed if it's a bear market. Yeah, I mean, that kind of sucks. Hopefully you've also diversified outside of crypto a bit. I think there are a lot of people that are in these shoes that that are saying that this is like the worst bull market ever because they are stuck in a lot of altcoins. That's why I think it's really important to be Bitcoin heavy, as I've said before. Let's see. What else? What else? Appreciate you, Sam. You're the only YouTuber in the space I still watch. I lost 90% of my money last Friday, and I was fooled by many other over-optimistic creators. I'm sorry to hear that. You got trapped on leverage. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation. Appreciate you still watching, obviously. Yeah, there are a lot of people that talk about how high crypto is going to go, but obviously there are going to be lots of dips along the way. And, you say you lost 90% of the money. Yeah, that's really tough. It sounds like from what you said, you didn't even need to be super aggressive on leverage, I suppose. But if you had like 2 or 3x leverage positions on the wrong exchanges, because some of them had different dips than others, and they were all in altcoins. Yeah, if you had the majority of your portfolio in crypto, yeah, that's probably liquidated. Again, it. I try to talk about how I have up to 5% leverage or something. Like 5% of my portfolio might be on leverage at a time, and the majority is just Bitcoin. So yeah, I try to put up those guardrails, but yeah, some people obviously get too aggressive or get very aggressive. Um, what do we think about the possibility of 88 to 94K Bitcoin, ideal institutional accumulation, banned retail short-term traders start? Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. Let's see, from the top to the bottom, 88K would be a 31% dip. It's not outside of the normal for Bitcoin. Again, it's just, I think the scary part is not the dip percentage for people right now. It's that we're this late in the cycle, and it would be congruent with us going down into a bear market. So that's the scary part for people. What else? Cheap Bitcoin, be greedy when others are fearful. Yeah. Is there an ETF deadline by the 18th? I seem to remember there was some altcoin deadline, like Solana spot ETFs or something, but can't remember exactly. Manipulation, frustration, killing the nation. Yeah, I mean there's a lot of back and forth with all the Trump news and tariff wars and stuff like that. Dave Portnoy, yeah, appreciate that. Let's see. Sorry, I'm still stuck behind. I'll just skim some of these. I feel sick. Yeah, probably a good indication that maybe you have a little bit too much in crypto, not diversified enough if you're feeling sick, or not enough cash. Like if you're feeling sick, or if you're losing sleep, you probably should be more diversified, more in cash. Try to fight the urge to put everything into crypto. All YouTubers will change their tone from very bullish to bearish. I mean, at some point it makes sense to change your tone. Like if you really think that there's a bear market, and you're right, it makes sense. Obviously, you don't want to be one of those people that just flip back and forth every time there's a 10% dip or something like that. You have to be kind of steadfast. But yeah, I try, like, even if the titles change from like bullish to bearish, like I'm quoting other people most of the time if it's something bearish, or I'm explaining like what people are talking about. And I'm fairly bullish all the time. I'm more of a perma bull, I'd say. Pepe says, I warned everyone to sell, but no one listened. Yeah, the problem is there's so many people that have been telling everyone to sell for a year and a half, 2 years since the bottom of the bear market. And it's almost always the wrong time to sell. Finance manipulating the market. Yep. They constantly do that. Even today, they're sending crypto to Wintermute to liquidate longs. What's up, Sam? Bless you and the fam. Appreciate that. Hope you're doing well, Jesse, too. People are too panicky. Bitcoin isn't going to die. They need to put their money where their mouth is and buy. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree. A lot of people say that they want to buy Bitcoin when it's hitting 126K. I mean, I have friends that said, I wish I was more Bitcoin and I had bought real estate or bought stocks and stuff like that. I guess not too many people are saying that about equities because equities have done well, but a lot of people that I've talked to wish that they didn't have real estate. And the fact is, you can sell your real estate or pull equity and put it into Bitcoin if it falls down. So, yeah, dose of doom incoming. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people that are feeling that. Fridays kind of have sucked recently. Am I right? Like, might be a good time to set up, a time to hang out with friends or to watch a movie or go touch grass or something like that. Every Friday, set something up. Starting as soon as you get off work or something, or whenever you can. Okay, I'm just a few minutes behind. Do you think 90% Bitcoin is too much? We have emergency fund and are super bullish on Bitcoin. I think it's really hard for me to say whether it's too much for you because I don't know age, income, dependence, anything like that. I mean, 90% Bitcoin has done really well in the past. If you're 90% Bitcoin too, you've probably made a lot of money this cycle. If you're super bullish and you're willing to go through a 60, 70% dip and you're not retiring soon, you'll probably be fine. I'd personally am not that concentrated. I wouldn't feel comfortable being that concentrated, even though I'm super bullish on Bitcoin. But again, part of it's dependent on your financial journey, right? If you're like 2 years into work and you have, I don't know, $100,000 to your name or something like that, that's very different than being 25 years into work and being worth $2 million and you're 90% Bitcoin. Like, I again wouldn't be that aggressive with my allocation, but also you might have better risk tolerance than I do. And also my job is tied directly to crypto. So I could hold zero crypto and I would still have a great, I would still be directly correlated. My net worth would be directly correlated with crypto for the most part. Check out Crypto Zaros George. He's going to be on Altcoin Daily Channel talking about the Clash project. Clash, buy it while it's down. Yeah, I actually saw Clash, the token, when it was like 400K market cap, and then went up to, I want to say 700 million. Like I was looking at the chart, 400K, not 700 million, 70 million. And I've played in one of the tournaments. I used to play Clash Royale actually a lot, like in college and after college. I haven't since the Bitcoin baby, but I played for like 7 or 8 years. And it took me, like, I've started to play it a little bit more while I'm putting the baby down and the baby's sleeping or something like that, but I have to like stay close. So when I have like a couple extra minutes, I'll play. I have to remember some of the new characters, or I have to get to know some of the new characters because it's really hard to play without knowing what they do. Yeah, a week ago, everyone was talking about green end of year. We will still have green November and December, question mark. Or will we still have? Yeah, I mean, the market changes very quickly. I think sentiment changes with price a lot because manipulators, whales, institutions are really driving the market. So when they drive it up, people are thinking about why it's going up, and there are reasons for it or narratives for it. But then when we're going down, it's the exact opposite too. So yeah, I mean, this will be the first October in 7 or 8 years that we're red if we close at these prices. I think we were right around this price, maybe slightly higher at the beginning of the month. So it's still a possibility that we close green, to be fair. And then we could have a couple of green months, right? Or more than a couple of green months. Enough crypto, I'm going to watch Netflix. Yeah, I mean, on days like this, it's probably, not the worst thing in the world. I pulled out my retirement last year and bought Bitcoin. I now have a great connection with my money. I don't know what you mean by I have a great connection with my money, but you probably, I mean, depending on when you bought last year, you should be up pretty much anytime you bought, except for maybe a couple days. You'd still be up. Obviously, like VOO, VOO is maybe up a little bit more. I'm putting in ridiculously low longs on some of these cryptos. Yeah, I mean, some of them have dipped a lot. Not gonna lie, if you weren't in the trenches with us most, I don't know what that means. Sorry, I shouldn't have put it up. Let's see, anything else? I didn't know you I didn't know you did live streams. I watch your channel all the time. Appreciate you watching. Yeah, I don't usually do live streams. I think this is my first one, maybe a year. I agree with you. If you're losing sleep, you put too much into crypto. Yeah, you're over leveraged. The dip is because you need a close shave. Yeah, I do need a shave. Yeah, keep the mustache, the crypto stash going. How's the Bitcoin baby? He's doing well. He's asleep right now. Head to Japan in a few weeks. I'll check my portfolio later. That's awesome. I want to go to Japan too. It's just too far right now with the baby. What if this dip plays out like the March, April dip? Yeah, it could be. I mean, right now it's just really crypto centric. But yeah, I mean, it could be. As long as you have a 5 to 10 year plan, the price doesn't matter if you're DCAing on the way down. Yeah. Agreed. I mean, even if we go down for years, right, and we come back up to these prices, you'll make a lot of money. Like, I'm not saying we're going to, but like, if everyone wants to sell or wishes they would have sold if we go down, but they turn bearish and don't want to buy anymore in the in the bear market when that's the best time to be buying. Like, why do you want to sell now when you didn't sell at 126,000? And there's nothing like fundamentally wrong with Bitcoin or crypto. It's just because the price is down. You wish you would sell, or you want to, you want to end the pain of your portfolio going down further, but that's not a good reason to sell. Okay. I think I'm going to wrap it up. I skipped through some questions towards the end, so sorry about that. Someone says, "Is it too early for a beer?" It's never too early for a beer if you don't have anything to do, right? Okay. Any final questions? Leave them in the chat. I'll answer any really good ones real quick, and then we'll head out. They've thrown every negative at crypto in recent weeks. There are multiple catalysts. This is a game, not the end. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess yeah. Last Friday, there's a lot of manipulation happening. There hasn't really been too much going on, I suppose, outside that. It's not like there's been a ton of news, a ton of crazy news. Sure, Trump's gone back and forth. There's been manipulation, but it's not like anything bad has happened in crypto specifically. I mean, again, there's manipulation. Some people are like, "Oh, I'm done because there's manipulation," but that's always been the case. Jack Daniel says, "Let's have a beer." Let's do it. Maybe I'll have a beer a little bit early today. Thoughts on diversifying more into altcoins now with the recent drop? I think of that similar to going along the market right now. Honestly, like using leverage on Bitcoin. You might be wrong, and you could go down significantly. Some of the altcoins could go down to zero, or you could make a ton of money. So honestly, like if you're looking to go a little bit more risk on, if you feel pretty strong that that we're not going into a bear market, you could be wrong and you could lose the money, or you could be right and make a significant amount. So if you are like set up well, and it's not like you're trying to revenge trade and get that money back, it might make sense. Like if you're coming at from a position of strength, if you're well diversified and you're like, hey, I have an extra 5 grand. I don't care what happens to this. I'm set. Like I have a good emergency fund. I don't have high interest rate debt. I have these other equities and real estate and stuff. And I want to put in this money and I'm okay if it goes down to zero, but I think it's going to do well. Then yeah, do it. Now, I'm not saying you have to have 5 grand, but like if you're coming at like, hey, I just lost 20 grand. I need to make this back. Or I just lost this $100 and, I needed it for rent next week. I have like $50 I'm going to take on a cash advance. Like, don't do it. Cam says, thanks for the live stream. Always watch a videos. Nice to see you live. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate the $5 too. Yeah, I might do more of these, I guess. I like answering the questions. I just always get carried away and I go longer and then I'm like behind for other stuff. Like I was going to jump on here for 20 minutes and it's been like 45 or something. So yeah, I have to stop myself from going live too much because I talk too much. I'm long-winded. All right, cool, everyone. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.